Hey everyone, and welcome back to Secular Strike Back, the podcast that's probably already on your pastor's banned list. I'm Toothless Grin Kim, and today we're tackling one of the biggest, most dog-eared, and frankly funniest myths out there. The idea that without a big booming voice from the clouds dictating right from wrong, we'd all be running around like feral raccoons in a dumpster fire of depravity. Ever wondered why different cultures have wildly different ideas about good and evil, yet somehow still manage to function without descending into total chaos? It's a riddle that supernatural explanations often fail to solve, or worse, tie themselves in knots trying to explain away. Because, let's be real, if morality was truly etched in stone by a divine hand, wouldn't it be, universal? I mean, unless God just has a really bad memory and keeps changing the rules between continents. Thou shalt not eat shrimp in one place, but go nuts in another. Doesn't quite scream divine omnipotence, does it? We're cutting through centuries of dogma today to reveal the astonishing ground-up process by which human societies actually self-organize, developed complex ethics, and absolutely thrived. Not because of a god, but because of an inherent human capacity for cooperation, survival, and a shocking amount of common sense. This isn't just about tweaking your worldview. It's about redefining your understanding of civilization itself. And trust me, it's a whole lot more fascinating and hilarious than anything you'll find in an ancient, often contradictory, sacred text. So let's just get this out of the way. The widespread assumption that morality must come from a supernatural source for society to function. That's not just an assumption. It's basically the plot of a bad sitcom where the main characters keep insisting their invisible friend is running the universe, despite all evidence to the contrary. Think about it. The very idea that if you didn't fear eternal damnation or promise of heavenly rewards, you'd immediately start stealing candy from babies and kicking puppies. It's frankly a bit insulting to the average human intelligence, isn't it? It implies we're all just barely repressed sociopaths, held in check only by the cosmic threat of a celestial spanking. Newsflash! Most of us manage to not be terrible people on a Tuesday afternoon because, well, it's just generally a better way to live. And it turns out humanity has been figuring this out for millennia, long before any major monotheistic religions even dreamed of writing their first divine instruction manual. Historically, we've had a smorgasbord of ethical systems. The ancient Egyptians had Ma'at, emphasizing truth, balance, and cosmic order. No fiery pits of eternal torment needed, just a feather on a scale. The Epicureans in Greece championed living a pleasant life free from pain and fear, and simple pleasures. The Taoists in China advocated for living in harmony with the natural flow of the universe, a concept so chill it practically invented the weighted blanket. None of these required a sky daddy breathing fire to keep people from, say, leaving their dirty dishes in the communal cave. They were sophisticated, evolving frameworks built from the ground up, proving that humans are perfectly capable of creating societal ethics and societal norms without a divine blueprint. So, if it wasn't divine decree, how did we go from grunting cave dwellers to people who mostly don't eat each other? The answer, my friends, is far more elegant and, dare I say, logical than an omnipotent being with a penchant for bizarre dietary restrictions and blood control. It's called evolution, baby! Imagine early humans huddled together, trying not to become dinner for a saber-toothed tiger. Does it make more sense for one person to hoard all the berries they found or to share them so everyone has a bit of energy to run faster when danger strikes? Sharing those berries was a pretty solid survival strategy. This, my friends, is primal altruism in action. It's not about being a saint. It's about being smart enough to realize that we survives better than me when a giant, toothy predator is involved. Early humans weren't thinking, "Oh, I hope God sees me share this grub worm." They were thinking, "If Brenda starves, who's going to help me fight off that woolly mammoth?" Basic acts of cooperation, sharing food, warning of danger, scratching that itch on someone's back they can't reach, emerged as undeniable evolutionary advantages for early human groups. Turns out, helping your neighbor meant your genes, and their ability to help you, had a better shot of continuing. Who knew? Then we get to the fascinating world of game theory and reciprocity. It sounds fancy, but it basically boils down to the tit-for-tat principle. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. If you consistently shared your prized mammoth turkey with me, I was more likely to tell you when the really juicy berries were ripe. If you were a selfish jerk who never helped anyone, well, good luck getting anyone to lend you a spear when the wild boars came calling. Communities that understood mutual benefit, even unspoken, developed more robust and complex moral codes. They figured out pretty quickly that being reliably trustworthy and cooperative made everyone's lives better. It created a stable environment where individuals benefited from each other's existence, not from some abstract reward in the afterlife. It was a purely practical, survival-driven moral calculus. And honestly, it still is for a lot of us. And let's not forget the incredible human superpower, empathy. Yes, that squishy feeling of understanding and responding to others' well-being. Turns out we're hardwired for it. We have these things called mirroring neurons in our brains. They're like little empathetic Wi-Fi receivers. When you see someone stub their toe, those neurons fire, and you feel a twinge of their pain. This isn't divine magic. It's basic biology. Our social nature inherently drives us towards understanding and responding to others' well-being, even beyond immediate kin. It's why we cringe at injustice, why we feel a pang of sadness at another's suffering, and why most of us instinctively want to help. It's a fundamental part of being human, a feature of our human ethics that developed right alongside our big brains and opposable thumbs. So the next time someone tells you that you need a God to have empathy, just point to your brain and say, nope, I got it right here. So we figured out how to be decent in small groups, sharing, scratching backs, not letting Brenda starve. But as human groups grew, as tribes became villages and villages became bustling cities, the challenge of scale hit hard. How did larger, more diverse societies maintain order and cohesion without the tight knit bonds of smaller groups? You can't exactly know everyone's jerk sharing history in a metropolis of 50,000 people. This is where things get really fascinating, and where the claim of divine intervention becomes even more laughably redundant. This larger scale cooperation paved the way for the emergence of social contracts. These weren't necessarily written down at first. Paper was expensive, and scribes were busy drawing pictures of gods with animal heads. But they were powerful, unwritten agreements. I won't steal your goat if you don't steal my wheat. If we all agree to stop murdering each other, we can actually build cool stuff. Shared norms and the recognition of collective benefit became the bedrock of developing civilizations. We realized that adhering to certain rules, even if they occasionally cramped our individual style, led to a far more stable, productive, and frankly, less stabby existence for everyone. It was the ultimate group project, and surprisingly, we excelled. And as societies grew, so did the need for more formalized structures. This gave rise to the role of institutions. Early legal systems weren't handled down from a mountaintop. They were hammered out in community forums. If someone kept stealing sheep, the community got together and decided, okay, maybe we need a system for this, and perhaps a designated sheep guard. Community councils, elders, and cultural practices became mechanisms for enforcing and evolving these moral frameworks. They weren't just about punishment. They were about maintaining social equilibrium and ensuring that the hard-won benefits of cooperation weren't undone by a few bad apples. From the Code of Hammurabi, which, let's be honest, had some interesting ideas about justice, but was human-made, to early democratic assemblies, these were all human inventions designed to manage human problems. No supernatural intervention needed, just a lot of trial, error, and communal grumbling. Fast forward a few millennia, and here we are. We're facing globalized challenges that ancient texts simply did not see coming. How exactly does a 2,000-year-old scripture, or even a 5,000-year-old one, offer clear guidance on AI ethics, on digital privacy, on climate change, gene editing, or whether it's morally acceptable to binge watch an entire season of a show in one setting? The answer is yes. By the way, it's a moral imperative to relax. These contemporary issues force us to adapt and expand our moral considerations beyond traditional frameworks. We can't just open a dusty book and find the chapter entitled Moral Dilemmas of Interplanetary Travel and Robot Sentience. We have to think, discuss, research, and apply reason. This is where philosophies like secular humanism really shine. They prioritize human flourishing, well-being, and rational thought as the basis for ethical decisions. It's not about following a set of rules because some ancient prophet said so. It's about asking, what causes the least harm? What promotes the greatest good? What fosters respect and autonomy? Secular humanism contributes to ongoing ethical discourse and societal progress by centering humanity, our shared experiences, and our capacity for reason. It's a refreshing change from trying to make modern problems fit into a Bronze Age moral straitjacket. Today's moral compass isn't a divinely marginalized needle. It's a sophisticated, constantly updated GPS system. Current societies navigate complex ethical dilemmas through democratic processes, scientific understanding, and ongoing public debate. We don't just blindly accept. We question. We analyze. We learn. We look at data, we consider consequences, we engage in empathy, and we strive for consensus. This isn't a work of divine revelation. It's the beautiful, messy, and incredibly effective work of collective human intelligence. For all you atheist, ex-Christian skeptics, and deconstructors out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We're building a better ethical framework, one reasoned argument at a time, not one fear-based commandment at a time. So what does all this mean for the future? It means that morality isn't static. It's not a dusty relic locked away in a stained glass cabinet. It's an ever-adapting social technology, continuously refined by new knowledge, new challenges, and our growing understanding of ourselves and the universe. It evolves, much like we do. It's an open source project with billions of contributors constantly pushing updates to make our operating system run smoother. This understanding puts the power squarely where it belongs, with us. It's about individual agency and collective responsibility. Your choices matter. My choices matter. Every single ethical decision, big or small, contributes to the evolving moral fabric of our society. We're not passive recipients of divine commands. We are the active architects of our ethical future. So here's my call to action for you, my wonderfully rational and discerning audience. Don't just nod along in agreement, though feel free to do so. It feels good. I want you to critically engage with your own moral assumptions. Challenge the inherited dogma. Question the givens. And participate in the ongoing conversation about building a more just and thriving society. Ask yourself, why do I believe this is right or wrong? Is it because a book told me? Or because I've thought it through and believe it genuinely contributes to human well-being? Let's continue to build a world where morality is born of compassion, reason, and a shared understanding of our interconnectedness, not out of fear of arbitrary divine judgment. Because frankly, we're doing a pretty stellar job all on our own. And if that isn't something to celebrate, I don't know what is. So thank you for tuning in to this wonderfully sacrilegious episode. If you enjoyed this dive into human ethics and the evolution of our moral code, please like, share, subscribe, and tell all your deconstructing friends. And if you live in the United States and you would like to support this podcast, please consider making a $3 monthly donation by going to my Patreon and becoming a member. The link is in the description below. And Secular Strike Back just started up an email newsletter to which you might would like to subscribe to. That link is also in the description below. Your support helps Secular Strike Back keep challenging the status quo. Until next time, be good to each other, Not because some ancient text told you, but because it's just the right thing to do. Cheers. This is Secular Strikeback signing off. I'm Toothless Gren Kim. Thanks for watching, and until next time, bye.